This is the Daniel 7 food chain. In Daniel chapter 7, Daniel has a vision in which he sees four beasts, each representing a kingdom, and the Ancient of Days representing God the Father at the final judgment and his eternal kingdom. Each part of Daniel's vision can be connected with precision to different times with different empires ruling. Each new beast in the vision conquers the beast before it on the food chain, up to the Ancient of Days, who is the final ruler. The first of the beasts on the food chain is a lion with the wings of an eagle, and this beast represents the kingdom of Babylon, beginning its rule in 605 BC. Winged lions were discovered on many Babylonian artifacts that had art on them. This, combined with the fact that the lion is considered the king of beasts and the eagle the king of birds, made this first beast an accurate representation of Babylon in the height of its glory. Next in Daniel's vision, the lion has its wings plucked off, which physically would mean that the lion can no longer fly at its prey, and symbolically represents the time in which less powerful rulers came after King Nebuchadnezzar. The lion was then made to stand on 2 feet and was given the heart of a man, symbolizing Babylon becoming feeble and weak under the rule of Nebuchadnezzar's successors. This poor leadership led to the demise of Babylon in 539 BC. Second on the food chain, we have a bear raised on one side with 3 ribs between its teeth. This beast, representing the Medo-Persian Empire, was the one to conquer Babylon in 539 BC. The bear is an accurate symbol for this empire, as both the Medo-Persians and the bear are thought of as greedy and cruel. The bear being raised on one side represents the emergence of the Persian portion of the empire as the more dominant half a few years before they conquered Babylon. The 3 ribs in between the teeth of the bear each represent a primary power that the Medo-Persian Empire conquered. They conquered Lydia, Babylon, and Egypt. Third on the food chain, we have a 4-headed leopard with 4 wings, and this beast represents the semi-Greek Macedonian Empire of Alexander the Great, which conquered the Medo-Persian Empire in 331 BC. Leopards are known to be agile and swift, and wings also symbolize speed. Having a leopard with not 2 but 4 wings emphasizes how lightning fast Alexander the Great's conquest was. He began his conquest in 334 BC, and by 331 BC he had conquered the Medo-Persian Empire, which had been the greatest empire in the world at the time. The 4 heads of the leopard represent the 4 kingdoms that Alexander the Great's empire was divided into after his death. Since Alexander the Great did not specify who should succeed him after he died, his 4 generals, Cassander, Lysimachus, Seleucus, and Ptolemy, each ruled part of his empire. They were all still the same kingdom, just separated, which is why the 4 heads of the leopard are all connected to one body. Fourth on the food chain, we have a terrible and strong beast with iron teeth and 10 horns that Daniel could not connect to anything he had seen. This beast, representing pagan Rome, conquered the Greek Empire in 168 BC. Rome defeated the first of the monarchs that ruled and virtually controlled all the kingdoms at this time, as it stopped the invasion of Egypt by simply forbidding Antiochus IV to do it. The great iron teeth of this beast represent the cruelty and strength of the Roman Empire. In the vision, the beast is said to stamp the residue, which symbolizes Rome surpassing all the kingdoms before it in destructive power and intensity, completely destroying, subjugating, or enslaving the people it conquered. The 10 horns represent the Germanic barbarian tribes that invaded Rome in 476 AD, dividing it into 10 kingdoms, ruled by the Ostrogoths, Visigoths, Franks, Vandals, Suevi, Alemanni, Anglo-Saxons, Heruli, Lombards, and the Burgundians, the divided nations of Europe. Next in Daniel's vision comes a little horn which uproots 3 other horns, and has human eyes and a mouth speaking great things. This horn represents Papal Rome, or the continuation of the Roman power under the Catholic Church in 538 AD. The three horns that were uprooted represent the three barbarian nations that were overthrown by the Papal Rome as it came to power: the Heruli, Vandals, and Ostrogoths. These nations were destroyed because they supported Arianism, which was the main rival to Catholicism. The little horn having eyes symbolizes that this kingdom was intelligent, especially when compared with the barbarian kingdoms. Fifth on the food chain, we have the Ancient of Days, which is the description and not a title in Aramaic, and represents God the Father. The white garment that is being worn by this being symbolizes purity, and his white hair symbolizes antiquity or ancientness. This part of the vision represents the future and the final judgment, after which God's kingdom will be the only one remaining. The fourth beast is slain, which represents the end of the system that the little horn symbolized. Then the Son of Man comes and is given dominion, glory, and a kingdom. He represents Jesus, or God the Son, who will have an everlasting dominion and kingdom that will never be destroyed. With this kingdom, Daniel's vision ends, along with the Daniel 7 food chain. But how can we apply this to our own lives? Seeing the beasts in Daniel's vision and looking at the kingdoms they match in history shows us that the Bible is trustworthy and is truly God's inspired word. We as believers will face difficult times, but in the end, God will establish His kingdom, and we as His people will share in the victory. We can find reassurance in knowing that God will accomplish His purposes no matter what. God was able to reveal to Daniel all the kingdoms that would rule from Babylon till the end of time. We can find peace and be comforted knowing that God has always known what will come about and that He has everything under control.